Today's episode is brought to you by the Twisted Fork. Eat, drink, and enjoy. SANDE CAPLIN, welcome to the show, my friend.
Yeah.
So you and I are good friends. You and I work together, and we'll explain that. But you're also a very, very well-known person. I've never heard anything negative about you. Everybody loves you, man. You're just like, you're one of those guys that like, everyone's like, oh yeah, SANDE CAPLIN, great guy.
Well, it's been a fun ride. It's crazy business. But and I got into it, about 20 years ago a little over that when I got to Sarasota, and little by little I started, playing around with some musicians and stuff, and it's been crazy.
So let's tell our viewers, you own SANDE CAPLIN and Associates.
Right.
So what basically is that?
We're a web design company, marketing company. We're doing it for 25 years now. I have a much younger partner who is up to date with the latest technology. We have 5 or 6 other people who work for us. We have writers and editors and stuff like that. And we're also part of what's called the Suncoast Post. It started off as the Sarasota Post, and now it's grown, and we cover anywhere from Tampa all the way down to Naples.
It's brilliant. When I learned that was you, I was like, oh my gosh, that's a home run. Having your own newspaper online, brilliant. Now you have writers, right? Photographers,
Yep.
You have people.
We have writers. We have photographers. For instance, Vicki Sullivan, who's pretty well known now.
Yeah.
She goes out. It's an interesting story about that. About 9 years ago, Vicki comes up because, as an amateur photographer, I'm getting kicked around, pushed around, this and that, and I'm a little frustrated. So I said, look, I got this publication called Suncoast Post. It's small, but if you want to take pictures for us, you're going out, we'll publish this story. So about a month later, she sends me an email. Hey, I'm going to write to the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Okay. What are you going to do? She goes, I'm going to see if I can shoot it,
Now you're talking about the famous one in Manhattan.
The famous one on 34th Street. So
Yeah.
I said, look, okay. So she gets back to me a week later. She goes, you got to fill this form out. I fill it out. And sure enough, she got approved, flies up to New York City. She's on the grandstand at 34th Street with all the big shots, Yahoo and New York Times and New York Post. And after that, she has just shot in 8 years, you name the big show, she shot it. Anybody from Elton John, Paul McCartney, she does them all.
So she's smart to get a press pass to be able to get into these places. Like, so we recently Jacked Up played Thunder by the Bay.
Mm-hmm.
We opened up for Blue Oyster Cult. So did she go to events like that?
Yeah, she shoots. Oh yeah, she'll shoot. She shoots just about everywhere.
Yeah.
She's at Van Wezel a lot. Oh, she's at Raymond James Stadium. She goes up to Claire de Lourdes a lot. It's just amazing.
And she does great work too. She's got some amazing shots.
Yeah, so I always say to her, hey, Vicki, come on, put me in your camera bag, something, take me along here.
Right.
So we always laugh. She took me to see Tony Bennett years back, which was phenomenal.
Was that when he was touring with Lady Gaga?
No, it was just him. This was about 6 years ago. Several other shows. Marie Osmond, she took me to see, and I had no idea what that would be about, and it was just a great show. So we went to see Frankie Valli in the Four Seasons. We went to see, so she's all over.
But you know what's great about the Van Wezel, and there's a lot of good acts come here.
Yeah.
And then about an hour and a half south of us is the Barbara B. Mann down in Fort Myers.
I know.
So there's good acts there. So and then you got obviously Tampa, St. Pete. So I've seen some really good acts, man. I've seen some really good concerts. I've seen some plays.
Yeah.
One of the best things I saw was the Jersey Boys. The actual Broadway show came to town.
Right.
I loved it.
Yeah. that was a great show.
Yeah.
That was a great show. I saw that in London years and years ago.
It's based on a true story.
It is.
And the talent that they got for it. The guy that sang, Frankie.
Yeah.
Frankie Valli, right? And the Four Seasons.
Yeah.
Joe Pesci apparently was very instrumental. Joe Pesci, the actor.
Yeah.
In the old days in New Jersey where this took place, he was there in the very beginning as like their manager or their agent or like something.
About once a year, I'll catch it on Netflix or whatever. And it's great. I watch that movie at least once a year.
Clint Eastwood directed that.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite actors is in there, Christopher Walken.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
He
Chris is
plays
great.
one of the gangster guys, the
Yep.
older gangster guys
Yep.
that
Yeah, he's
that
great.
befriend. He becomes friends with
Oh
the
yeah, he was
kids
great.
and
Yeah.
helps them get through their
Yeah. When
career.
they had their financial troubles, he was right there for him. Yeah, he's great.
So, as you mentioned earlier, you're a New Yorker that now resides in Sarasota, like
Yep.
myself.
Yep.
I'm from Westchester County. What part of New York are you from?
I grew up on Long Island, Westbury. Graduated Westbury High School. From there, I went on to Rochester, New York, Rochester Institute of
Up in
Technology.
Rochester?
Yeah.
I know Rochester. I used
Do
to work
you?
for Xerox, and that's a cold place,
I
man.
worked for Kodak. Yeah,
That's a
it's
cold
a cold
place.
place, but so I was up there. I graduated from there and stayed up there about 3 years, and then came back to Long Island. We had a family automotive repair business, believe it or not, and I was in that for quite a while, and met somebody, and ended up here. A lot of crazy circumstances, but came here about 2004, and just stayed.
But prior to you coming here, like most New Yorkers, back in the old days, we would come to Florida on a family vacation. Like my father would load up the station wagon,
Yep.
and once a year we'd take a trip down to like the West Coast because he liked the West Coast. Eventually, he settled in Sarasota as he
Right.
retired. But were you always Did you prefer the West over the East?
We always went to the East Coast. I remember my dad years back, we'd pack up the car, start driving. There was no 95 back in those days, Interstate 95, and you're down Route 1 or whatever it was. And I remember him 11 o'clock at night looking for a place to stay. And you had all these little small hotels, and that's where we would stay. And we would always on the East Coast. I knew nothing about the
Like where
West Coast.
Lauderdale, Boca,
Oh, this was,
Miami. Like you're talking like
we'd get down
West
towards
Palm.
Georgia. Place to stay overnight. And, New York plates in Georgia.
I know. And the thing about Georgia, the motels were really, really cheap, and the gas was super cheap.
Yeah, yeah.
And they always got peanuts. Like everybody had peanuts.
Oh,
for sale.
yeah. So I was always an East Coast guy. And then when I got introduced to the West Coast, I go, this is just,
I know.
it's nuts.
As a New Yorker, I preferred the West Coast. I mean, East Coast, excuse me, when I was younger, and I even lived and worked in Fort Lauderdale. It's a very New York feel there. A lot of New York Italian, New York
Mhm.
Jewish, like
Oh, yeah.
good
Yeah.
food, right?
Yep.
And then my parents retired to Sarasota, and I came over to Siesta Key to visit them, and I fell in love with it. And I had no idea what Sarasota was. I had no idea it was part
Neither
of the
did
Tampa
I.
market
Neither
because
did
I'm
I.
watching the news. I'm like, why are you getting Tampa news stations? Because Sarasota is part of the Tampa market.
Right.
I didn't know that back
Right.
then, and I fell in love with it. So eventually, when it was my turn to move here, I chose Sarasota.
Yeah. So, I guess as I say, so I got down here, and I was already, the internet was still in its infancy. But before I left, I was involved with car dealerships setting up internet departments.
Nice.
Now, in those days, nobody knew it. It was Cars.com and
Beautiful.
Auto Trader were the only two.
Just Jesse Biter was a guy that was involved with that.
Well,
right?
up here, yeah, Jesse was involved. I don't know if it was Auto Trader or Cars.com.
Something
one
like
of the two.
that.
Yeah.
I should get him on the show. He's an interesting
Yeah,
guy.
he is an interesting guy. He just bought a plane, I saw.
Jeez.
Yeah, just the other day, I saw he bought a
So
plane.
he's a rich, interesting guy.
Yeah.
But you had the foresight. You were a bright guy, and you saw the power of the internet even way back then.
Yeah, so I got down here and started playing around a little bit, and I did a couple of very small website jobs. One of them was for a deli over in Gulf Gate that's still there, Piccolo Deli.
Love that place, dude. Remember
Well,
Sherry? Sherry? No,
yeah.
you probably knew that place before Sherry.
Oh, I go two owners back. No, one owner back before
Because
Sherry.
that owner was from New Rochelle.
Yep, he was. So I get this website, and I started to meet him. I would go down there all the time. I go, your stuff is as good as in New York. And he goes, well, I bring the stuff up from here. I do this and that. And then he sold it to Sherry, and Sherry sold it to somebody else. And now there's somebody in there from Montreal. And this is the fourth owner.
It's a young. I think it's a young couple now.
Yeah,
saw.
they're from Montreal. Yeah,
Nice
they
people.
are.
Because Serge just recently sold it to them.
Serge
Yeah,
sold
yeah,
it
yeah.
to them, right?
What I like about Piccolo's is that it's never too crowded,
Right.
and the food is delicious.
It's the
And
best.
their pizza, like they don't really advertise their
No,
pizza
they
or
have
market
great
it, but it's
pizza,
great
yeah.
pizza. But the sauce is their secret.
Yeah,
Secret sauce is the sauce.
right. So I go up there 4 times a year, and I pay him a visit, maybe 5 times, and so as I say, these guys now from Montreal are here, and they're learning the ins and outs. It's a little different market than what they were used to, but
Good question. Being a New Yorker, do you have favorite places you like to eat here? Like, where do you go for your Chinese, your bagels, your like Jewish food, deli food? Where do you go for that stuff?
I go back.
yeah.
No, seriously. We have some favorites, and I'm very careful who because I do a lot of restaurant work around town. Probably do about 25 restaurants that we do work for. A lot in Cortez, Swordfish Grill, Cortez Kitchen, Clancy's.
Clancy's,
Yeah.
that's one of our mutual
Well,
interests.
that's how we really met. The first time I
That's right.
saw you play over
That's right.
there, and we got to be
I love
talking.
Clancy's.
Oh,
I
Clancy's.
tell people of all the venues that we play at, Clancy's has the best food and the best prices.
Well, they just, Dana now is a new
Yeah.
owner, and she, I could let the secret out. She has some new menu items coming out very soon.
I hope they don't get rid of the Clancy rolls though, bro, because
No, they're not.
that's awesome.
They're not. So we were talking about that, and they're just. I'm very blessed that all of all of my we call it Sandy Kaplan associates. We all come friends, like you and I. We
Sure.
like even today. I was telling James, my partner, where I was going, and he goes, "You're doing the podcast?" He goes, "Hold on a minute." He goes, "Listen, their website. It's a static YouTube on there." So he goes, "Let's set it up so every episode
Thank you,
comes up
James.
a week later." And then so before I even got here, I showed it to you. And
Fantastic.
so that's what we like to do. Make friends with
I
everybody.
believe that. I believe there's a family environment. I believe that you're the kind of guy that you're a very likable guy. You know what I'm saying? And
I try like
no,
to have fun.
but I think that because you're from like this is the thing, man. I'm from New York, and I always get along with other New Yorkers because I think we wear our hearts on our sleeves, right? We tell it like it is, right? I think that we tend to be a little bit different, in a good way.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe we're a little loud.
Well, yeah,
I mean,
you
I've been
know.
accused of being too loud or
Yeah.
being too rambunctious. Maybe I drop a few F-bombs here and there, but I'm a big-hearted guy, and I think you are too.
Well, I'll tell you a good story about that. Billy Rice.
Love Billy Rice.
You know.
He was on the show.
Yeah, I know. He called me that night. Gotta watch it. Gotta watch it. He's the legend. So there was a place called the Flying Dog Cafe. Now this was Bruce Smiglio had that over on Talavera Road, and they had a jam on Thursday night, which was never duplicated. He moved over to Bradenton. Circumstances changed, and he put up a nice establishment. And he says, "Listen, I'm getting Billy Rice to play here." I go, "No way, this or that." So it was the same night that Billy was going to play that we do this giving back event, which used to be called Lady Sings the Blues. I'll tell that story in a minute. So I didn't see him the first night, but the second, he's played a week later, and I go up to him and I meet him. And Billy will tell the story a little different. I said, "You got to move those speakers a little to the left or the right. Somebody's going to trip over." And he goes, "Hey, you're being a real New Yorker," he goes to me. So then I go to him, "Hey, listen." So I watch him play, and they were phenomenal. And I go, "Listen, you guys are great, but you got an awful website." Just like that. He goes, "Yeah, I know all about you. Just build me a website." I go,
I can see him saying that too.
Just like that. Just build me a
I can see
website.
him talking just like that.
"You want to know how much?" He goes, No, I know all about you. That was it. So that was like 13 years ago or whatever. And we just have become great friends. We did 2 music videos for him. One was I'm Just Saying from his album. Another one was Back to the USA.
His originals are really good. And
Yeah.
he came and surprised me. He came to one of our shows at Woody's recently,
Did he?
and he had dinner. Yeah, and he came to watched our first set. And I saw him previously, and I love how he opens up a show. He does his originals in the beginning,
Yeah.
and they're good songs, and then he'll do all the traditional covers afterwards.
So every year now for 14 years, like he played his last gig at 88 Live last Thursday.
I heard that place. I never
Yeah.
set foot in that place. I hear it's good.
You've never been to 88
No, and I
Live?
heard they just expanded it.
Well, that's a whole nother one. It's a client of mine. But when he's done playing, we'll meet up for breakfast. He goes, "No, that's it. I'm retiring. I'm just going to be a solo player." I go, "Billy, for 14 years, it's the same broken record. He'll be back next year with the band," but he always says that. But Billy. You talk about a big heart. Billy's there for a lot of
Yeah,
people.
I agree.
Um,
And I think this market, we're blessed to know so many really good musicians and good
Mhm.
people. I just had Dana Lawrence on the show of Kettle of Fish.
mhm.
I've had Twinkle, Dr. Dave. I mean, there's some really good people, man, that like play
Yeah.
music,
We do Twinkle's work. We do Dana's work for a long time. I interviewed him about 10 years ago. One of my first interviews when it was the Sarasota Post. And I looked it up the other day. I sent it to him. He started laughing about it. He's a good guy.
Great guy.
Yeah.
So what else do you do besides that? Let's talk more about the charities that you're involved in.
Well, about, 13 years ago, Steve Harvey got a hold of me, and he wanted to put this thing together called Lady Sings the Blues. And I said, "Okay," because I could use your help in marketing and this and that. And he got a whole bunch of female singers from the area. And there was a place on Hillview Street. The name,
5 o'clock club?
No, next to the 5 o'clock club. I can't think of the name of it now.
Cafe something,
No.
blase, or
So we had it there. It'll come back to me. You know, you get old and you forget a lot of
oh,
stuff.
trust me,
But
I have a birthday next week.
happy birthday. So the place was packed, but you had all these ladies who wanted to sing, and it was getting late, and it was getting a little dicey if we were going to get them all in because the place is, you know,
Small.
it's small, right? So we moved it a couple years later to the Swordfish Grill
Cortez
and
Road.
on Cortez Road. We had it there, and then circumstances changed, and we changed it. I changed it to Giving Back instead of Lady Sings the Blues.
Before you continue, though, I still think you should take Lady Sings the Blues is a great idea, and you should like rebrand that or bring that back.
It is, but the work involved.
I know, but there's so many good female singers here.
We have
More than ever. Like my girl Sarah's a great example.
Sarah's, that's a whole, yeah, no, you know how I feel about Sarah. She's just,
Dynamite.
Your band went shot through the roof.
No doubt, no doubt. And we see it now. We're getting better gigs, more money, and better tips.
Yeah.
Overnight.
Yeah. You and I have talked about it, and anything you tell me is in confidence. But when you told me that, and then when I went to see you, and that was the first night at Clancy's.
Her debut.
Wasn't it at Clancy's?
Yeah, man.
And we were there, and and I know what it does, what's involved to get in sync. But to get in sync, and the first night, you guys were right there, and she's
a pro.
Yeah, she is.
And we love playing with her. I mean, there's no doubt. But anyway, so now you rebranded the Lady Sings the Blues.
So we rebranded it for a lot of different reasons. And every event that we've had at the Swordfish, the money goes to a different charity. We've given it to, 5 or 6 different charities throughout the different counties. And last year, it got not rained out, it got hurricaned out. So this year,
hurricaned out. That's a new term now. Hurricaned out. Only Floridians would know what that term.
Right.
Got hurricaned out.
So this year there was a major change in 2024. But I'll back up. I'll hold that story for a second. So back to Billy for a second. We had the largest attended CD release party for him in 2018. We had it at the Seafood Shack.
It's a little place, isn't it?
No, the Seafood Shack was knocked down last week.
That's right on the water.
Right on the water, just before the Cortez Bridge.
Yes, I've eaten there.
Billy used to play there every Thursday night back in the day, always pack them. So he comes out with his CD, and we come out with this. I said, look, we got to do a CD release party. So we did it there, 700 people.
Jeez.
I thought it's a second floor.
There's no place to park there either.
Yeah, it was limited parking. They were turning people away. They raised a ton of money, and he gave it all to Manatee Children's Services. We did another one for Kim Betts, Dickie's daughter, she's not playing anymore. So we've had some fun doing video stuff like that. And it's not that we've gotten away from it, but it's hard getting good people, like the camera people here. These guys are pros, but when we did it back in the day, it was just, I had good people, and I still have good people, but we don't have the camera people, and we don't really have as much time to do that because we're so busy with our other work. But 2020 came along, and that was a big change when COVID hit, for all of us. And we all had to take a look at what direction we wanted to go in. And
a lot of musicians would spend that time writing, and a lot of guys were putting together albums through the internet, like they were doing these remote situations where you could be in your living room and you could play drums.
Yeah.
And your buddy's playing bass.
Yeah.
In another room, in another house.
Yeah.
And it all comes together.
Yeah.
And you put together a concert.
Yeah, there's websites out there to do that. We did that for a guy years ago. And I was diagnosed. I had prostate cancer in 2020 and went through the whole series of, I had it removed and 39 weeks of radiation treatment. I did bring a friend along. Let me see if he'll come up here.
Let's see the friend.
Come here. So the camera can see it. So this guy is Mookie.
Mookie is famous. I'm gonna let the audience know that this is a famous dog. This dog is more people know this dog than you can imagine.
So what happened was I always had big dogs my whole life, and a friend of mine named is Hope Kinney. We were taking pictures at a.
Is that any relation to Bill Kinney?
No,
different Kinney.
Now that's we have to talk about Bill soon.
All right.
She goes, "You need a dog." No, she was holding this little, it wasn't him, but a little tiny little dog. And I'm saying, "What is that?" She goes, "Oh, that's my dog." And she goes, "You need a dog." Nah, I haven't had a dog in 9 years. She says, "You got to get a dog," in her little Tennessee accent. She says, "You got to get a dog." Sends me pictures, sends me, call this number up. So I call this lady in Ocala. She goes, "Sandy, nobody knows about this, but I got a litter of one." She goes, "The mom, it's my dog, is only 4.5 pounds." She goes, "This dog's going to be a tiny little dog, 6, 7 pounds." I said, "Send me some pictures." So what do? I send it to my grandkids. I have 6 grandboys. What do you guys think? Of course. So the rest is history. We went up to Ocala. Vicky Sullivan drove me because I wasn't doing much driving at the time. And she pulls up. She goes, she wouldn't let me come into her house. She goes, "I'm a single woman. I don't let anybody at my house. And I have a farm and it's COVID. Meet me at the Burger King on State Road, whatever, in Ocala." She pulls up in a pickup truck and bale of hay in the back, rusted out on the fenders. And there he is in a laundry basket in the front seat. And she goes, "Listen, I'm not blowing smoke up your ass. If you don't want him, I'm keeping this guy." So we took him home.
How old was he at the
He
time?
was 9 weeks, 10
So
weeks.
real little.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know. We just, hey, you want to go back down in now? I started taking him as things progressed. COVID, we started getting the vaccines and stuff. So I started going out a little bit. And then about a year, it wasn't a year later, but Bill Kinney, Paragon Festivals. Everybody knows Bill.
Yeah, a mutual friend of ours.
Yeah. And I do their work. I do the website and stuff.
Excellent, excellent festival.
Oh, it's a great festival.
First of all, great food,
Great
great
food.
music. Bill knows his music, so he has the
Oh,
best
yeah.
bands.
Yeah.
And I'm waiting for him to call me to book us for next year because I want to get a head start on that stuff because I want to get those dates laid in.
Yeah.
But do you get a chance to go to the festivals or do you?
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, I just got yesterday or the day before an email of the dates for the festivals for next year. We
Good.
just got them. So I go down and take pictures. I said, "What am I going to do with him?" So I had this little tiny backpack and I threw him in the back of the backpack and his head's sticking out and I'm taking pictures, not knowing that everybody behind him is waving at him and having a good old time. And now, so he just, everywhere we go, he's loved at Clancy's. He loves the girls at Clancy's, all the servers and, swordfish and stuff like that. So he's just part of the deal now.
I have a dog myself. I have a Cavalier King Charles Spaniel, and he doesn't want to leave my side.
Yeah.
And every time I leave the house, whether I go out for 5 minutes or 5 hours, I feel guilty.
Yep.
And I put the TV on for him and I give him like some snacks and I make him comfortable. But I know damn well that he's probably like, he's pissed off that I'm gone.
Yeah. Yeah. I know what you're saying. Yeah. And there has to be a time when they're by themselves. There's no doubt.
Yeah, yeah.
So in moving things around a little, some dates, this past November 2nd it was, I get a call the next morning, Sunday morning. There was a bartender who was working at the Swordfish Grill. Name was Sarah Holmes. Coming home from work, her boyfriend was driving, just picked her up at work. They're sitting at the traffic light at Cortez Road, waiting to make a left-hand turn, just sitting at the light. If she would have been able to make the left-hand turn on 43rd Street, her house is literally an eighth of a mile. Drunk driver just plowed into her at 115 miles an hour and killed her just instantly. So I knew Sarah and I knew she had 2 little girls, and the folks at the Swordfish, she had contacted them. She wanted to do a celebration of life. So my friend Katrina Cox, she's the one of the managers there. We met up with her at the park at a park in Bradenton, and we kind of figured out how we're going to do anything. So I was shooting the photos that night, and I'm looking, and the 2 little girls are there, and they were just a mess. They were confused. Where's mommy? 5 and 4 years old. Beautiful girls.
Very sad, very tragic.
So after the celebration of life, my significant other, Nancy, and I said, "Look, we got to dig into this more. Got to be able to help." That we knew that the grandmother, Gammy, we call her, had the kids. And so we got involved, and they were very shy, very introverted, very clingy to Gammy. No real emotion to other people. And so now it's what, 7 months later, 6 months later. We see them twice a week. We pick the older one up at school and take her to speech class and then occupational therapy class. Then we go back and we pick up the other one at school and we take them all over. It could be what time we took them to Chuck E. Cheese. We took them just to different places.
So it's very kind of you that you're volunteering your time to help these two little girls.
Yeah, it just
And
everything
I'm
just
sure they appreciate it as they
oh
get
my
older,
God.
right?
They just everything just pieced together. And so we started to take them over to the Cortez kitchen and to the Swordfish, and we're watching. They love the outdoors. There was a crab going up a pole, and they just thought it was. And then there was, they saw some fish, and now they've gotten friendly with everybody. They talk. They have come. They're coming out of their shell, and it's a blessing. The older ones still has more challenges, at least I think. And then we get them another day of the week, and usually on Friday we take them to dinner somewhere. And we've gotten very close with Gammy. So this year, our giving back event, which is October 20th, it's at the Swordfish. Um, Only 200 people.
I got my tickets
Yeah,
already.
thank you. You got your
Yeah,
tickets.
yeah.
We limit it to 200 people because we don't want just people tripping over each other, and we've done it before there. And all the money that's raised, 100%, nothing. We don't take any of the money to use it for any expense whatsoever. Swordfish covers lots of stuff. We all do our share, and we set up two Florida 529 education funds for them. So all the money will go towards their education when they're ready to go to school.
Please let me know how Jacked Up or this podcast can help you. I mean, I'll certainly get the word out about the ticket sales until it's sold out. And
Appreciate
we
that.
can use this as a vehicle for that. If you
Absolutely.
need us to play, if you need us to do sound, whatever you need help with,
I'll tell you what we can use now.
please let me
That
know.
night we have Kettle of Fish is playing that night,
Great.
and Tim Chandler. I don't know if you know Tim.
I don't.
Tim, he's in Cortez.
He's
He
probably a
plays lot.
local acoustic
Yeah,
guy.
and he's going to be the special guest. And but what we need is to spread the word, like especially like if you're Clancy's is a music sponsor, and 88 Live Bradenton is the music sponsor.
We're going to be at Clancy's on June 6th,
Yeah,
which
I
is this
saw that.
Friday. We're playing this Friday. at
Yeah, I
Clancy's.
know. In fact,
So-
I said to Nancy, "Hey, Friday." You know,
So we'll announce it on the microphone.
that would be great.
Hey, how do you feel about? I'll give you the mic. You want to come up and say something?
I can talk to you back
All
and
right.
forth. I am the worst
All
getting
right.
up, but I will.
No
I
problem.
will get up. I
Yeah,
will get up
because
because I'm so passionate
I
about
know
these
you are.
girls.
I know
They
you
are
are.
just.
You're doing the Lord's work, man.
It's just so funny when they go. One of them, I never have the D in my name. It's always Sandy. It's just call me, come here. So, yeah. So we have some numbers in mind that we like to raise, and just so they'll have something down the road for their education, and the people in Cortez and the Bradenton area. I have tears in my eyes. The girls go up to them now and they talk to them. Everybody, what can we do? This or that. So I'll go, hey, watch these two. I got to go to the bathroom. And the girls are fine now. They used to be but now they know they're safe. They feel safe.
Yeah.
With
Thanks to you.
and they've
Nancy.
seen you guys. They saw you play once already.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so
We'll bring them every
Yeah,
time we can.
I don't know if we have enough, but if we do, we
School's
we will.
going to be out soon, right? So the
School's
kids are
out
going to
for
have
the-
some kind of summer break.
School's out for the kids, yeah. So that's our big thing, and we started early because summer comes, a lot of people are gone, so we're spreading the word now. We started selling tickets.
It'll still sell out though.
Oh yeah, it'll sell out.
And you know what's funny, man? I love the Cortez Road area because there's a lot of regulars. Like for an example, Clancy's. There's a lot of regulars there that live in the area.
Oh,
I mean, some of them can walk to Clancy's there. They've been so close. And I'm sure I haven't been to the Cortez seafood place, but I'm sure that place is the same where there's a lot of locals that frequent there and regulars, right?
You got to go over. You got to go over to Swordfish in the kitchen.
You know what? I
it's
haven't
so
even eaten
laid.
there.
It's laid back. It's on the water. You're sitting right on the water there. It's just
I will have to do that.
absolutely.
But to your point, there's a lot of really good people.
Oh.
And then when the tourists do come and the snowbirds, they're good people too.
Oh, there's no doubt.
I mean, it's like they love it. Like people write us on Facebook or they'll text me if I know them saying how they can't wait to see us when they come back.
Yeah.
And that they enjoyed our last show and we'll see you in 6 months. Like there are people that like love coming here and they love their bands. They love
Yeah.
their restaurants, right?
And that's the way we are. Everybody it's just I crack up. Everybody just becomes our friends and in different ways. Again, how we met, and then And my partner, we're exact opposites. He's laid back. He doesn't take any phone calls. We've learned over the years, people always want to talk to him because he's the tech guy. He's the guy with AI now who is just performing. It's just
Yeah.
crazy.
He's the wizard, man.
So, they all want to talk to James. I go, no, I'm sorry. Well, what do you mean? I go, if he'll never get any work done. And my
Right.
other people who do websites will never get any work done. So,
Yeah, I think you yelled at me once for trying to contact James.
everybody wants to talk to him. And that's okay. And
No,
that's
because
okay, but we explain.
you're the middleman, but you have to be the middleman.
I have to be.
Right.
Every email goes through me, or I have
Right,
somebody
right.
else. This
When we were building our website with you, I felt bad that I kept giving you, like, remember I was giving you pictures in piecemeal and you were like freaking out. Like I felt bad about that because like that's the only technology. I
and
don't
that's
know
all
any better.
good. And you know what? And we've adjusted with that stuff too. Now we know not everybody is
Savvy.
savvy. We're doing some work now for a company, and they're older people who have no idea, about anything. I said, Don't worry about it." So there's times that I'll say, "Look, you know how to use a thumb drive, and yeah, okay, put it on a thumb drive, and I'll come to your house and pick it up."
Besides doing great work, you're a very easy guy to do business with. So, are you taking on new clients? Do you have room to bring on new clients? If someone's watching this show right now and they want their local business to
We
have a new website.
are, but we've become much more selective. We want people who appreciate what we do. I'll get people. You got to get it done sooner than that. Well, what we do, nothing goes faster than what we do.
So your main clients are restaurants. You have a couple bands, as you mentioned. What else? What
I
other-
do restaurants. I do bands. Our flagship is the Sarasota Film Festival.
Nice.
We've been doing that. I don't know. It's coming up on year 14 or 15. And I'll give a plug to Mark Famiglio, who's the
He
president.
looks like
of it.
Danny DeVito, that guy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he does.
Doesn't
Don't-
he?
Don't say that to him. No. So over the years, I've interviewed some pretty cool people over the years, and it's pretty cool stuff, and it's great for the town. And
So what are some of your other bigger clients? You mentioned Paragon Seafood.
do Paragon. Oh God, whole bunch of restaurants. I can go down. There's just a ton of different people. I told you about the deli in Sarasota. We do a lot of different work. We do plumbing companies. We do a little bit of everything. We do pizza places.
And you know what's cool too, man? Every one of your websites is different. It's not like you're using a cookie cutter.
No.
It's like everything is unique. Like my website, which I love, and we just rebranded
Yeah, we
it,
just did
is different than Twinkle's.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
I love Twinkle's site.
Right.
So like it's all different, And the cool thing is that I want to grow mine. I eventually want to have you put a shopping cart on so we can start selling things.
Selling merchandise online.
So that's the next step. But the cool thing about it is you do quality work and it's good price. I mean, you're
Yeah, we try to be fair. We really do. We try to be fair with everything. We always tell people, look, we have mouths to feed also, but we know where our pricing structure is, and we know we're very fair about it. And most of the work is on recommendation. And
So was it Sandy Caplet? What's your email? Is it Sandy Caplan and Associates at Gmail?
the
Or is it- no,
easiest one is S as in Sandy, R as in Richard, Kaplan at Gmail.
Right. So SR Kaplan at Gmail. Correct. That's what.
Or you can get me at Sandy at sandykaplan.com.
Now Sandy is spelled SANDE.
Yep, with an E.
Now what's the word? What's the history behind the name? Sandy?
Back in 19 whatever, my mom had a friend who had named her kid Sandy several years before that. My mom liked it, and that was with an E, and that was nothing behind it.
So let's switch conversations for a second. The discussion. Let's go into music. Were you into music growing up, and what kind of bands
Oh,
were
yeah.
you listening to? What kind of concerts were you going
Well,
to?
I'll tell you, I like all kinds of music. I remember I went to a concert at the Forest Hills Tennis Stadium.
I used to go there.
Bob-
I saw Yes there once.
I saw Bob Dylan there.
Come on,
Yeah.
that would have been great.
In the old tennis stadium, which they still use now. They've cleaned, they fixed it up.
And that's a beautiful neighborhood, right
Yeah.
all around there, right?
The problem that they have there now, my son was telling me, it's a 10 o'clock curfew.
Yeah, because I understand
That's
why.
all
Because literally,
residential.
there's people like living
Oh,
right in
yeah.
the house. Guy's bedroom is right
Right.
next to the stage.
So I saw him there. Didn't get to see the Beatles. I got
Come on.
close, but I think tickets
Damn.
were like $9 then, and it was getting expensive.
One of the greatest moments in rock and roll history, and there's like a dozen of them, One of them was when the Beatles played the Ed Sullivan
Yeah.
Theater, and then when the Beatles played Shea Stadium for the first time.
Yeah.
And they apparently it was so loud
Oh, yeah.
that they couldn't hear their own amps. They couldn't
Yeah.
hear
Yep.
themselves on stage.
Yep.
And that's a nightmare for any musician.
Oh, for sure. For sure. You know, Billy Rice got me opened for Charlie Daniels band, so I got to meet Charlie. That was about 10 years ago. That was a lot of fun. He was quite the character.
What were you old enough for the whole Woodstock thing? Like, where were you at that time in your life?
I was in college, and I went, got close, didn't get, didn't. It was so backed up, it was crazy.
Yeah.
But the whole Watkins Glen area, they used to have concerts there. So I got to see quite a few different bands. Chicago, I saw Chicago my freshman year of college when they were just, it was Chicago Transit
I remember.
Authority.
I remember. Those were the
And
early days, man.
and those 25 or 6 to 4, that first album.
Yeah, they had a horn section,
Oh,
like really good singing.
it's phenomenal.
You probably saw a lot of really good bands. I'll throw some out, man. Led Zeppelin,
Didn't see Led Zeppelin.
The Who,
Yes.
the Stones. Obviously, probably saw them a bunch of times.
No, I never saw the Stones.
Come
Now
on.
Vicky shot the Stones.
I've seen the Stones so many times now that I just can't go anymore
never
because
saw
I'm
the
like, I
Stones.
can't do it.
Never saw the Stones.
Wow.
Sorry, just didn't.
Skinner, Leonard Skinner, Allman Brothers, any of that Southern
Allman
rock stuff?
Brothers, of course. Now, Vicky tells me stories when the Allman Brothers had a place on the island.
Yeah, man. The Betts and the Allmans have a big influence around here.
She said it was just a whole scene. She goes, it was a different time, different place. But she said, there's a lot of stories I just have no reason to want to share with you. But she said it was crazy times. Yeah, but Kim Betts, she's not singing anymore, but we used to get into conversation. She's telling me about the early days with her dad when she was a kid, with Dickie. And so it's been,
You know
pretty
that my
amazing
drummer,
stuff.
Jared Johnson, my fabulous drummer,
Yeah,
his wife is a Betts.
Yes, she really.
Yeah.
Interesting.
There's a part of that family tree,
Yeah,
that's like
it
very,
is.
very prominent in the Sarasota County, Manatee County area.
Yeah, but this area, just in our 2 counties, Manatee and Sarasota County, is just great musicians.
No doubt. Not just like the cover bands, but like there's a lot of original guys. There's a lot of guys that are retired here. A lot of famous guys. Like obviously the big one would be Brian Johnson.
Mhm.
Have you ever get a chance to meet him or work with him?
No.
He's a very, very nice guy, and I understand he really is very generous. And
Yeah.
he helps out a lot of foundations and things like that are local.
But yeah, Paul Madison's another one. He has music, in a couple of his places. I got to know him pretty well. He has a great staff in his places.
You mentioned to me about Aces. So that was a great spot, right?
It was phenomenal.
There's a lot of history in that place.
The old barn.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't a big place.
It was definitely a barn, but
Yeah.
was it once a barn and it became a venue? Like, what was the
No,
deal behind
but
it? They just built it that
I
way
called it the old barn
because it looked like a barn.
from a sports thing. We used to call. I'm a New York Islander fan. They played in this Nassau Coliseum. We used to call it the old barn. It was just, but there was a second floor that not everybody
Yeah.
went up there.
No, I remember. It's like a balcony.
And that's what I would take like pictures from, like when Billy was playing. And we did a video release party there, I think. Was it? No, maybe it was, no, it was a video release party there. And I remember it was packed. I don't remember how many people they can hold, but it was.
But it was kind of like in the middle of nowhere, wasn't it? Like
Yeah.
really, there's nothing around there at the
Well, it's on
time.
Cortez and just past 75th Street. It's
So you're going westbound on Cortez.
Yeah.
You're going towards the water.
but they had everybody play there. I mean, everybody.
Well, now
played.
what happened to it? Like, why did they blow it up?
Well, I guess it reached its time. The owner,
The land was more valuable. And
land
maybe
was more valuable. Now it's an
condos,
auto repair
townhomes.
shop, but yeah, they had pretty damn good food there too. But it was just a hangout, and again, it was small, and the sound was just great. It was just, and
You know, it's funny. A lot of people mention that place on this podcast. A lot of the musicians that were around back then, they miss it. 5 o'clock Club is another name that
5
can start
o'clock
out.
club. Was
People really
great.
miss that.
Yeah, that was. But times change, and that's what's frustrating. The rents go up. I know. I talk to some of these restaurant owners, and they go, you keep raising prices, but the rents keep going up. It just, these businesses are struggling,
I know.
even right now.
The restaurant business is a really tough business, and seasons could, like Piccolo's is a great example. I know it. I pray for them because I love them so much,
Yeah.
and I'm like, summer's going to be tough for them.
Yeah.
because they're kind of they didn't really have the momentum like as
No,
new owners, right?
no. But I see that all the time, or I'll go into a restaurant and, I'll hear them say to the server, what, X amount of, it's $13 for a hamburger, whatever. Well, you know, this is McDonald's. You go to McDonald's, by the time you get
The
out of
funny
there,
thing about McDonald's, you're right, because McDonald's used to be cheap. I
no.
went to McDonald's. I'm trying not to go there anymore because it's
Yeah.
not healthy. But
No,
I got my bill and I couldn't believe how much
yeah.
it was. I was like, oh my gosh.
We were there the other day. We try to get the kids to eat healthy, and it's hard. These two little girls, they love chicken nuggets
Oh
in
yeah.
any of the places, but they wanted Happy Meals. They wanted the toy, so we go there, a couple of Happy Meals and a couple of chocolate milks. I look at it, I go,
It was like 40 bucks or something.
yeah, it was pretty funny, So,
Well,
but
here's the thing. Sarasota is still a very desirable place to live.
oh yeah,
And a lot of businesses want to come here. I do read the paper and I do go online and I understand there's a lot of turnover. Like, Herald Tribune always has a section of new restaurants coming,
yep, and
all ones leaving. And it seems like more are leaving than are coming. But the new ones that are coming are pretty impressive. I mean,
yeah.
there are some people that are dumping some serious change and they're making some
Oh.
of these beautiful restaurants.
There's where they Fit to Run used to be on Main Street.
Yes.
I was there the other day.
It's a whiskey place or something, a tequila place, or
It
right?
didn't open yet, but they're putting a ton of money into this
Yeah.
one place. And then there's a whiskey place that they tell you it's $150 or something
Oh,
minimum.
the Sugar Shack.
So,
But here's the thing: everybody's making fun of that, and I'm watching on Facebook people making, what that guy's going to be successful
probably, yeah.
because people are going to spend that money because they want to be in that society, they want to be in that club,
Mm.
and let's face it, people do have money. I mean, there's a lot of wealthy men and women in this area. They just maybe they're hanging on to it right now because they're a little skeptical. But I saw it firsthand. The Sarasota Wine Festival, my band headlined that, and I saw a lot of the wealthy men and women of the Sarasota area come out and buying wine, and they're buying it by the cases, and
Yeah.
sampling it and whatnot.
Yeah,
So, Sarasota still has that high end feel and that high end community.
yeah. I try, I try to get onto Main Street once or twice a month. I love going over, the real local, what I call the real locally owned restaurants. The owner operator lives
Like-
here. I
Yeah,
have to
yeah,
go
yeah.
to Duval's. You
Do you remember Mozzarella Fella,
Yeah,
Michael and his
yeah,
wife?
Yeah,
Now they own Pazzo on Orange,
yeah,
which is amazing, right?
yeah.
I mean, we could do a separate show.
Oh, we
just
can do a show on
great
yeah,
restaurants.
It's just great food. There's a little place called Villa Sorrento. This is another one. It's if you're on 41 heading north towards Bradenton, maybe half a mile past Cortez Road. It's on the left side. So a bunch of my buddies have been going there. It's a couple, husband and a wife, young. I call them young kids. They are, and they have a little girl. And all my buddies, you gotta go there. You gotta go there. So and they go and they built a playroom for their daughter because daycare or babysitters you go broke.
Sure.
So they built this. So we go there one night, just Nancy and I and another friend, and we get introduced to everybody, and they show me the back room. Well, now we take the girls there. They just run in right to the back room.
Sure.
She gives them spaghetti meatballs in these little plates, sketty and meatballs, and the food is phenomenal over there.
That's awful. That sounds awesome.
Tiramisu. Have you ever been to Tiramisu?
I've never been there, but I've heard of it.
You got to go there. That's at the corner of 41 and State Road 70, just a little north. Excellent, excellent.
So
food.
we still have a lot of good mom and pops in this
Oh
area.
yeah, these.
And
Yeah,
then we got the big corporate ones that coming in, like there's the Ocean Prime and those
yeah,
places.
yeah,
So yeah, you need those. I mean, you need
Yeah.
the corporates, but you need more of the mom and
yeah.
pops. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, at Tiramisu, they're young kids. I call them young kids. I've been, they're younger than my kids, and just they go out of their way to help you.
Some of my favorites are Napoli, the one on Tamiami Trail. I
Yeah.
love Napoli.
Yeah,
Cafe Barboso, Joe DiMaggio
left.
Jr. He just left
yeah,
recently.
yeah.
And him and I became friends. I
Yeah.
live right now. I can walk there from where I
Oh
live.
really?
That was my go-to.
He's
So
a good
all of
guy.
our family parties, Christmas Eve, like we would always go to Cafe Barboso and see Joe.
Right. Another thing I should bring up now, we're talking about restaurants and businesses. So the Suncoast Post, which for years how that whole thing started 10, 11 years ago, James, my partner, goes, hey, I bought the URL suncoastpost.com. Okay, we're going to do a little publication. Okay. He goes, and I'm going to write a story every week. Okay. So the first story he wrote 10 years ago was the best pizza in Sarasota.
Which is a great, because people ask that all the time.
Yeah. Well, that was the first and only story that he ever wrote. So then Vicky Sullivan came along, and now we have a bunch of writers. But we will, any restaurant, any business, plumbing, we write stories every day. We put out at least one story a day, maybe two. And we welcome stories.
Yeah.
Hoda's golf cart service. I met them at a some kind of marketing function. We did a story about them yesterday, and we get big time traffic. So any of the people watching this, if you're a restaurant, a plumber, an architect, we'll write what we ask you to do. You send us the story. We'll proofread it. We won't change the content. We're just looking for grammar and stuff like that. Send us a couple photos, and you'll get some.
But these are positive pieces.
Yeah, no negativity.
You're
no.
encouraging business. You're encouraging folks to try something that maybe they don't know about yet.
Right. There's a place called Pro Plumbing. I didn't know them from Adam, and the same thing. We did a story about them, and they got business offer. We ended up taking over their website, and that's not what we're really looking for it to do. But Vicky has at least 2-3 stories a month. She was at that '80s show in Clearwater the other day. Where else did she shoot? So she has always had stories. It's all feel good stuff, you know.
The power of the press is still very relevant,
Yeah.
whether it's in print or online.
Yeah.
And we all know the print world's dying. So the Suncoast Post is brilliant. I'm going to tell you a story. Not a story. I'm going to make a recommendation of a movie. It's on Netflix called The Nonas. You have to see
I just watched it last week.
Okay. So they were falling apart until the article came out.
Exactly.
And then all of a sudden they reopened the doors and they became a successful
Right.
business. All because of one positive review.
And it's funny with Villa Sorrento, they don't have a liquor license, and they can get one, but they're not. There's bring your own wine, no cork fee. And I know when I put that story out there, I'm gonna go. You got to hold that one table for me though. When I call you, I always say. But yeah, so we've written about Madison's. We've written just so many people over the years. So anybody out there, just info@suncoastpost.com. Send us a story, and it's free. We don't charge for it.
Excellent. You did a story on my lead singer Sarah Santiago.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
When she started with us.
We did,
because she has a history. She sang with David Foster.
Yeah. Oh,
and I love to tell that story.
You sent me the video.
Yeah.
And yeah, that story got we get a lot of traffic.
Yeah.
And so that was and it's great. For me at my age now, it's all feel good stuff. So and you know what's even nicer. And Sarah really sticks out. She sent me a note a day or two later. Thank you so much. This is real, and I know she just didn't bang, bang, bang. That's what makes me feel good.
She's a classy lady, and she put her
sent
heart
me a
in.
nice little thank you on it, and it was just pretty cool.
So as we get ready to wrap up, what are some of the things that you love about Sarasota? I mean, you could be real specific, or you can just give us a generalization. You could talk about places, people, the weather. What is it that makes you a Suncoast lover?
Well, I always say Sarasota, Bradenton, first of all. Two totally different type of areas, but it's the people, it's the people. I'll sit and listen to the fishermen over at Cortez telling me stories about what they caught that day. Then I hear about stories from the 60s when there's all kinds of crazy stuff going on. And then the culture, I go into Sarasota, and, when I do this film festival, I'm going, look at this. I'm doing a website for the Sarasota Film Festival. There's been some really cool people there over the years. And Steve Buscemi was the last guy that I interviewed there. Now, he was a cool guy.
Great actor, yeah.
Yeah. So I say it's the people. I say it's the locals. I mean, I love the snowbirds. I love when they come into town because everybody's making money. Without snowbirds.
We need that. We need those wealthy people to spend money here.
Well,
There's no doubt. We know.
Listen, you're a realist. You're not going to have the crowds in June, July, August, September as you have in January.
And the tips reflective of that. Our tip jar swells during season. Because there are people that are there, A, and B, they have disposable income.
Right. So when I first got down here, I used to read these articles, people knocking snowbirds. I go, no, and then it gets escalated. I was in the supermarket and somebody was really nasty to me. It was a snowbird, and how do you know it's a snowbird? But without them, half of these restaurants.
What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on all the new development? Like, for an example, when you go down Tamiami Trail and you're going down by around Fruitville Road, you're seeing a lot of brand new tall buildings. Now, I happen to love it because I'm a city guy and I used to live and work in Manhattan. So I love high rises and I love premium restaurants and I like that. But there's a lot of people that don't like it.
Well, it's the traffic. I worry about the traffic. I worry about the infrastructure. Where's all this sewage going? Where all this high rise, where, smog. And so I think we're at a point now, you got to take a look. How much more can we build here?
I
And
agree, but then why do they keep green lighting these projects? Like,
uh,
who are the people that are like?
uh,
How do these people have so much power that they can say, you know
uh,
what, we're going to screw up the coast and the beauty and our beaches to make these monster.
I, I, I stay away from that. For
It's
answering something like that.
politics.
It's
Yeah, I
politics.
don't talk politics
Yeah.
ever. I
You
mean,
know,
I'm clearly you don't either. Your Suncoast Post is not about that.
never.
I stay away from religion. I stay away from
Yep.
politics, and I stay away from all the social issues.
Yep.
You
Yep.
know, but certainly Sarasota has a handful of issues. I mean, there's a lot of websites and Facebook pages and things of people just having gripes about everything. You know,
It's a double-edged sword. In Bradenton, right on the water, the library literally faces the water. The library's been there for years, and I don't know if it's passed enough, but they're talking about moving the library so a hotel could go up there.
yeah,
Does it make sense? Well, the library doesn't have to be on the water. I understand that, but there's going to be another high-rise hotel. Where do you park the cars? And it
right.
just snowballs. So,
And the Cortez Bridge. I mean, that's
well,
that's we don't want to put any more traffic on that thing,
the
right?
new bridge. So it's going to be a 2-lane bridge or whatever. But then when you get over the bridge, you're still on a one.
Well, you know what's funny? So we used to play a place on Anna Marie Island called Island Time.
Yeah.
And we always had to get there super early because we had to load in and then we had to figure out a way to put our vehicles because the parking there is so tough
Mm-hmm.
because there's a hotel right next to it.
Mm-hmm.
And during season, it swells with all these people coming down.
Absolutely.
So it's a great time. I mean, everybody has a lot of fun on the island, but it's just like it's a real tough place to find parking.
Yeah, it
You know?
is. During the season, I have to admit, I don't go onto the island
You
unless
know
I
what?
have to.
During Easter, Passover, and all those wonderful holidays, I stay clear of
Yeah.
Siesta Key Village.
Yeah.
And the Siesta Key beaches, I mean, let's face it. What makes Sarasota Bradenton special is our coastline. There's
course.
no doubt,
Of course.
right? But one thing that I want to talk about Sarasota is that when you go east, it's a whole different world. For an
Oh, yeah.
example, my friend lives very far east of 75, and he's got like a farm
Yeah.
with tall trees, and he's got horses.
Yeah.
And he's got a problem at night with like crazy coyotes and like all these predator animals he's got to
Right.
look out for. And that's different from your fisherman village on
Yep.
Cortez Road. It's two
Yep.
different worlds, man.
Oh, it's two different.
You know?
worlds.
So
It's two
Sarasota
different
is very diverse.
You go east, and east is really, Stottlemyre's. That used to be almost the end of the world there now, but you keep driving now, and it's, there's building going up all
Yes.
over the place.
My father and mother are buried at Sarasota National Cemetery.
Okay.
So we go visit them quite often. And then if you keep going and you're like, oh my God, there's a Publix here. Like, I don't know, where'd that come from?
Yep.
You know, it's
I
a
know.
great Lakewood Ranch is something
Oh,
that I
wow.
watched with my own eyes I've been here, 7 years maybe in this area? No, longer than that, but I've watched Lakewood Ranch get built. Like 10,000 homes go up.
It's amazing. And that's the other thing to talk about expansion. 75th Street and Cortez Road, all those potato farms, and they're all gone. They leveled it. Now there's 6,500 homes, a new shopping center, and it was just nothing but farmland. And I don't know what's going to happen with traffic over there.
What happened to that place called Pirates, Bunnies and Pirates? Or what happened to that place? Like, what's the story behind that?
There's a lot of talk on it. At the end of the day, there's a real estate company in there now. That's a whole.
But that land was valuable, and I guess was the lease
Yeah.
up, and then
Yeah, yes and no. It's a political thing. There's a gentleman who owns a lot of property on the island. He's a real estate mogul, and he owns that building, and a lot of different stories. But they were really nice people there too.
but I guess my point is that it's sad that these local traditions and some of these mom and pop
Yeah.
places that have made the place famous
Annie's
are-
bait
are-
and tackle
are slowly going away now. So now there's going to be a whole generation of people that are not going to know
Not gonna-
any about this history and about what was cool about
next
this
to the
place.
seafood shack. There's Annie's bait and tackle. I guess you call it a dive bar. It was a small place. It was great, but everybody hung out there. You go in there for a beer. There's always a story, always something cool stuff to talk about. And that got knocked down when the seafood shack got knocked down. Now they're going to apparently some kind of boat dock are going in there or something. But the stories in that place, it's just amazing. So,
So, Sandy, in our final minutes, how can people find out about this fundraiser and how can they buy tickets? What is that website they can go to?
Actually, we have a website coming out in a few days about giving back. Um, we advertise it all over Facebook. It's there's links to different places. We have it on Facebook. We're gonna be making announcements all over town. So
So, should people for now just wait for that announcement? I mean, can they go to your website or your Facebook page and see perhaps
it's on my Facebook page now. It's on a lot of different Facebook pages. They could just drop me an email and I'll get them the link to it.
because somebody listening to this might say, "Hey, you know what? I got $500 that I want to give
Right.
to these little girls' educational fund."
Sure.
You
They
know?
they can make out the check to the educational fund, or they can. It's a donation box on our link where we're selling the tickets. But SR Caplin at Gmail. Look up Sandy Caplin on Facebook. SANDE CAPLIN. You'll just go on my page. You'll see the link to buy.
Will they
tickets.
eventually have any opportunity at the restaurant itself to either buy a ticket or make a direct donation there?
Yeah, if you go to Swordfish, there's people there. Just go up to them. Hey, I want to buy a ticket, and they have it on their phone.
Okay,
They'll
so
have a card there at Swordfish, at Cortez Kitchen, at Clancy's, and 88 Live. They all will have the cards. Just take a picture of the QR code, and
Excellent.
definitely there.
Fantastic.
And on Friday night when we see you, now it's
Yes.
6 o'clock Friday night. I always
So
get,
I know.
it's-
So for our folks listening to this, 6 o'clock Friday night, June 6th.
whose birthday is
Come
it?
to Clancy's. So it's my birthday and Larry, my guitar player. So I'm the
Oh.
7th, he's the 9th. So
Oh.
every year we'll have one concert. It just happens to be at Clancy's this year. And then we'll just, play our normal show, but have special guest musicians come up. And then we'll have a little birthday celebration and things of that nature. In fact, your birthday was not too long ago.
Yeah,
And we announced,
yeah,
we
we
sang
did.
to you.
Mookie, we got a party to go to Friday night.
Very good. Well, listen, Sandy, I want to thank you for coming
It
in,
was
man.
great.
You're a great guy. You're very generous. You have a big heart.
Well,
And I'm so happy to hear you're raising money for these two little girls.
thanks. And
Hopefully
then-
people are hearing this and they're going to want to contribute.
if I'd love to bring them there Friday night. You know me, I don't stay out real late.
You know what's so funny? It's true because I'll see you having a good time in the audience.
Yeah.
And then, I'll the set's over. Maybe I'll see you. Then the second set starts and you're gone. I'm like, what happened to Sandy?
Well, I get up every day 4 a.m. I do my stuff early in the morning. With Suncoast Post, get some stories out, and it's just been my life. And
Early to bed, early to rise,
yeah,
man.
you get a little older. I always laugh at you guys, musicians. You guys are out when you play at the Gator Club.
Oh God.
What is it, like 4 a.m. or something?
We don't leave there till 2. Well, we leave at 3 because we finish at 2.
Oh.
Takes us an hour to get out of there. Then I have to go to Wawa and get something to drink because I'm parched. and then I got to get home, walk the dog because now he's wondering where the hell were you? Now his time clock is all messed up because now he doesn't know it's night and day. And then I got to go to sleep. So it's horrible.
Yeah, that's a tough.
But woe is me, right? I mean, I'm a local musician that has to deal with that.
And they still busy at that hour of the night.
They are.
O'clock. It's amazing.
See, look, here's the deal. Gator Club is wonderful, wonderful people that own
Yeah.
it. And Jamie and her brother run it. And it's a class act. During the day, it's a proper restaurant.
Yeah.
Liquor
Bar, yeah.
with proper cigars and a cigar
Yeah.
lounge. And at night, they let their hair down and they open up the doors to the kids, right?
Yeah.
And the kids, have nowhere to go, and they'll pay a fee to get in.
Yeah.
And they'll go upstairs and they'll dance their ass off all night long. So the way it's laid out is the downstairs is rock and roll. There's 2 bars and a big rock and roll stage. And there's a lot of people will dance. Like we get a big crowd there and they dance to us in our 80s. But then you'll see kids going upstairs with a DJ and they're dancing to more of the, that hip hop rap, more current
It's
stuff.
crazy.
So they
good.
do a nice business there.
Yeah. And you know what? It seems safe. There's never any issues.
No.
And it's great.
The only issue, and it's just a typical thing of life, is that, noise, right? So there are people that are moving in next door that, these are expensive units that are above there, but this is what I don't understand this, Sandy. If you're going to pay money to live downtown because you want to be part of the action,
Got to check out what's going on.
you want to be able to walk to the cafe, you want to be able to do all this stuff, sit outside and have a cocktail, then why are you complaining about the noise? I mean, you're choosing to live in an environment.
Why
where-
weren't you walking around at 10, 11 o'clock at night to see what's going on downtown? There's music downtown. That's what that annoys me when people bitch about the noise. Well, you made that choice to live there.
We have to keep the arts in downtown.
Absolutely.
There has to be music. There has to be, those wonderful sculptures that people put in. They
Yep.
paint the sides of their businesses.
Yep.
There needs to be that. I mean, that's what makes a culture. That's what defines a city.
Exactly.
And I'm all for Main Street, being Main, like we should have a slogan, keep Main Street Main Street,
Yeah.
or let's make Main Street great again.
Oh, boy.
Now I'm getting political. Anyway, Sandy, thanks for coming in.
Great, thank you.
Let's say goodbye to Mookie one last time. Let's get him up here.
Say goodbye. Say goodbye to
Goodbye,
everybody.
Mookie.
There's the camera over there, Mook.
Mookie is the cutest dog in all of
Good
the
boy,
Sarasota,
good
Bradenton
boy.
area,
He's
and the
mellow.
most loved.
Yeah, the girls love him. So
Thanks for coming in.
thank you.
All right, we'll see you. Today's episode is brought to you by the Twisted Fork. Eat, drink, and enjoy.